He said it was just fake, just temporary, but he pushed me into someone else's arms. When I turned around, the person who truly loved me, protected me, was no longer him. Regina had barely opened her eyes in the hospital when a strange idea struck her. Why not mess with Esteban a little? Just for fun. So she looked at him, blinked innocently, and asked, "Who are you?" The way Esteban's expression froze mid-blink almost made her burst out laughing. But before she could, Esteban turned abruptly and pointed to the man standing beside him. "I'm just your boyfriend's best friend. He's your boyfriend, Dominic." Her smile froze too. Dominic stepped forward with a calm nod.
"Yeah.
I'm your boyfriend." Regina forced a smile. "Then take me home." And just like that, the game began. Dominic brought her to what he claimed was their home. He said they had always lived there together. She looked around. Everything was pristine and elegant, but none of it felt familiar. No photos, no favorite books, no worn-out slippers by the bed. Not a trace of her anywhere. But she nodded and pretended to believe him, just as he pretended to care. She lay down on the bed for a while, then got up to get a drink. That's when she heard Ida's voicemail echoing through the living room. "Dominic, help me out. Pretend to be Regina's boyfriend for a while." It was Esteban's voice. "Aren't you worried she'll get her memory back suddenly? If she does, I'll sweet-talk her. She loves me too much to really leave. I'm honestly a bit tired of her anyway. This is a chance to breathe. To have fun." "So, you really are with Misty now? You just want more time with her?"
Exactly.
"But hey, I do love Regina more, deep down. Just don't touch her, okay? I trust you. You never liked her, right?" Regina stood there barefoot, her body chilled, not by the floor, but by the betrayal. She made a quiet noise near the door to announce her presence, then walked into the room like nothing had happened. Dominic looked startled, quickly stopping the message and rushing over. "The floor's cold. Why aren't you wearing shoes?" He lifted her in his arms gently and placed her on the sofa. "I'm thirsty," she said, scanning the room. "I can't find where the water is." "I'll get it." He returned with a glass, sat beside her, and watched her closely. "Do you feel pain anywhere?" She took a sip and shook her head. He gently smoothed her messy hair, then leaned in to kiss her forehead. Her eyes froze. Just moments ago, Esteban had told him not to touch her, and Regina had always believed Dominic didn't like her. But now, here he was, brushing her hair, pressing his lips to her skin like he meant it. When he leaned in to kiss her lips, she turned away. He softly caressed her cheek. "You don't remember yet, but that's okay. We'll take it slow. You'll get used to me again." So Dominic was lying to Esteban too. Later, he brought her to a VIP lounge where murmurs filled the room the moment they walked in. A group of wealthy young people stared, some glancing at Esteban. Misty, seated close beside him, looped her arm around his and smiled. "Regina, you remember me, right? Misty from college. We were roommates." Regina looked at her, then shook her head. "Sorry." "It's okay. We can all reintroduce ourselves." Misty's voice was sweet, but her grip on Esteban was possessive. She clung to him like a prize, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Esteban didn't pull away. He seemed to enjoy the attention, like flaunting another woman in front of Regina gave him a thrill. "Both boyfriends in the same friend group? How convenient," someone joked. "Memory or no memory, some things don't change," another added, their tone laced with malice. The games continued. Esteban and Misty shared a cookie from opposite ends, biting their way closer.
"Kiss.
"Kiss," the group chanted. Esteban kissed Misty passionately in front of everyone. Misty leaned into him, casting Regina a triumphant glance. Esteban held her proudly. Then, it was Regina's turn to be punished in the party game for losing. The punishment? Kiss someone for 30 seconds. The room fell into a hush. All eyes turned to her. They wondered, would she instinctively choose Esteban? Esteban looked away, nervous. Maybe he feared she'd remember something too soon. Dominic, beside her, was visibly tense. Regina smiled and said, "Of course I'll choose my boyfriend." She turned to Dominic. "So, shall we?" Dominic's body relaxed as she moved closer. She wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed him. There was a wave of astonished gasps. Maybe they'd seen Esteban kiss other women before, but they had never seen Regina kiss someone else. That wow carried a strange one of disbelief, of something new being born. Then silence. Dominic didn't hold back. He kissed her deeply, confidently, like he wasn't pretending at all. When 30 seconds were up, Regina pulled away and saw Esteban's face darkened with anger. That explained the stunned silence. Dominic tenderly wiped a small damp spot from the corner of her lips. "What's wrong with you all? Isn't this just part of the game?" Regina asked innocently, like she truly didn't understand the sudden tension in the air. Even with amnesia, Regina seems pretty comfortable with her boyfriend, Misty said with fake sweetness. Esteban's face was visibly irritated. Later, Regina went to the restroom outside. As she climbed the stairs, she overheard a conversation. "Dominic, I told you not to touch her." "That wasn't cool." Esteban's voice was cold. "It was just a game. And besides, she has amnesia. Who else would she kiss, her boyfriend, or you, who's busy with Misty? Wouldn't be realistic, right? You made me her boyfriend, remember?" Dominic's voice was smooth, a little amused. Esteban went quiet. "Anyway, just don't go too far. I know you wouldn't really want to sleep with Regina. Still, avoid anything too intimate. I'd feel guilty if you couldn't help yourself. You know what I mean." "Heh. You know me too well." Back at Dominic's mansion, just as Regina was about to walk into the bedroom, Dominic grabbed her arm. Dominic said nothing, just leaned in and kissed her. Regina tried to pull away, but he held her firmly, as if the moment was more real than he'd anticipated. When he finally let go, he stroked her cheek and whispered, "We've taken a step, haven't we? Let's keep getting to know each other slowly." Regina stared at him, confused.
What was he playing at?
Just days ago, she'd heard him assure Esteban he didn't even like her. Now this? Esteban and Regina had always been from different worlds. He was the one who broke down her walls with patience and persistence. She'd eventually met his elite circle spoiled, arrogant socialites, and among them, Dominic had stood out for all the wrong reasons. He mocked her relationship with Esteban. She avoided him at every opportunity, and he never hid his contempt. But ever since her so-called memory loss and Esteban's absurd arrangement, Dominic had taken every chance to cross lines. Was this his way of getting back at Esteban? A petty rebellion masked as affection? Regina's work as a designer allowed her the comfort of working from home. That night, Dominic knocked on her door. "You must be tired. There's a fireworks show tonight. Let's go watch." When they arrived at the lake, the best viewing spot was already occupied by Esteban and Misty. Misty clung to him like a delicate ornament, glowing with joy. She suddenly leapt up and kissed his cheek. Esteban chuckled and tapped her nose affectionately. Then he turned. His smile wavered slightly when he saw Regina and Dominic, but he quickly composed himself. Misty spotted them and waved. "You made it," she chirped, then handed her phone to Regina. "Could you take some pictures of us? Please." Esteban hesitated, his gaze flicking between the two. "I'm so happy tonight," Misty beamed. "Esteban arranged this whole thing for me. I want to remember it forever." She nestled into Esteban's chest, eyes sparkling. Regina's hand trembled as she took the phone.
So,
This entire display was for Misty. Not just any night. The same lake. The same fireworks show Esteban had once surprised her with for her birthday. She still remembered Misty's voice back then, half joking, half earnest. "I wish someone would love me like that someday." Regina had comforted her, promised she'd find that love.
apparently she had.
Regina took the photos silently. On screen, Esteban looked down at Misty tenderly while the fireworks painted the sky behind them. Misty looked radiant, basking in the warmth Regina had once known. Dominic walked up and gently pulled the phone from her hands. "That's enough. You're not just here to be their photographer." He tossed the phone back to Esteban, who caught it with an awkward smile. After the show, Misty and Regina headed to the restroom, but the crowd was too much. Regina turned back and again, unintentionally overheard a conversation. "You seem really happy with Misty," Dominic remarked. "Happier than I've seen you in a long time." Esteban sighed. "With Misty, I feel like I've recaptured something I lost with Regina. Misty's obedient.
Sweet.
She makes me feel at ease." "Maybe it's time to keep things that way," Dominic said. You always said Regina was stubborn. That she drove you crazy. We've been through a lot, Esteban muttered. It's not something you just end. Misty doesn't even want a commitment.
She just wants to enjoy it while it lasts.
Says that's enough. Esteban exhaled, sounding tired. She's so naive. That night, back at the villa, Dominic wrapped his arms around Regina and kissed her again.
But this time, she didn't resist.
He pulled back, looking into her eyes. Regina, you're the best version of yourself. Don't compare yourself to anyone. Her breath caught. His words echoed the things she'd overheard Esteban say, comparing her to Misty, like she was just some phase gone wrong. Yet somehow, Dominic seemed to know every tiny detail Esteban had forgotten. The candy she loved, the meals that comforted her, the exact genre of movies that made her cry. This time, she didn't push him away. Dominic looked stunned. Then, with a sudden gentleness, he scooped her into his arms and carried her into his bedroom. Regina had only ever been with one man, Esteban. When he first pursued her, she didn't trust him at all. But he'd broken through her walls with quiet persistence, with the way he treated her grandmother, with the sacrifices he made. Even when his parents cut off his money for dating her, he stayed. They studied together, struggled together, and eventually his parents gave in. He told her she was all he had left after her grandmother died, that he'd never leave. But now, that pure love had twisted into something unrecognizable. Maybe it was time to learn how to love someone else. That weekend, the entire group went to a resort. When the rooms were assigned, Esteban's face darkened. In private, he pulled Dominic aside. Don't tell me you're sharing a room with her. Separate. Dominic rolled his eyes. It's just a room. You know I don't even like her. What's your issue? Just then, Regina appeared. Esteban went stiff and said nothing. The next morning, Esteban dragged Dominic away, visibly seething. From the second-floor balcony, Regina overheard every word. Esteban's voice cut through the silence, like a blade. Did you two sleep together last night? He snapped. Dominic let out a sharp breath, unfazed. Wait, instead of cuddling with your sweet little girlfriend, were you really standing by the wall eavesdropping like a maniac? Seriously, Esteban? That's how far gone you are. Esteban's face burned with rage. Are you playing me, Dominic? Oh, drop the act. You don't need me to keep pretending I'm Regina's boyfriend. Heh. And what's your plan, then? Dominic's laugh was ice cold. You gonna tell everyone you're her real boyfriend? Gonna admit you dumped her into my lap so you could go screw around with your side piece? That you needed someone to cover for you while you had your fun? Esteban flinched. Dominic's tone turned lethal. Tell me, Esteban. You brave enough to say it out loud? Esteban opened his mouth, but nothing came out. And what about Misty? Isn't she your shiny new prize? She's right over there, by the way. Esteban's voice softened, full of conflicted guilt. Misty and I. It was never real. I never wanted to leave Regina. She loves me. Once she gets her memory back, I'll apologize. I'll propose. I'll tell her it was always her. I know she'll forgive me. His voice cracked. But how could you sleep with her? You betrayed me. Me? Dominic arched an eyebrow. I never said I hated her. That was all you. Always you. Esteban's hands curled into fists. My brother, huh? Lusting after Regina all this time and just waiting for a moment like this. Dominic's voice was calm, even amused. This was your doing, Esteban. You're the one who pointed and said, he's her boyfriend. So, I became him. Esteban looked shattered. His eyes no longer held anger, just confusion and guilt. Now that Regina and I have slept together, Dominic continued, and you're off playing house with Misty. Maybe just let things be. When Regina remembers, you don't even have to apologize. I'll take the fall. Everyone's happy. Esteban's mouth twisted into a grim smile. You think I care? Maybe this will just make her forgive me faster. I'm ending things with Misty today. I'll win Regina back, and I'll do it in front of you. Regina, still toying with a pot of flowers, barely flinched. But down below, Misty, who had been silently eavesdropping, turned pale and ran off. Later that afternoon, while the guys were off fishing, Misty found Regina alone. Come with me to pick grapes, she chirped. Regina glanced at her, offered a tight smile, and followed. Inside the vineyard, Misty handed her a phone. I want to show you something. Regina scrolled through the images. There's a lot. Take your time, Misty said with a smug glint in her eyes. I pulled them from Esteban's phone. The screen was full of photos Regina and Esteban together, kissing, laughing, lying in bed. Intimate memories from university till now. Regina returned the phone calmly. What's this supposed to mean? Misty blinked, thrown off by the lack of reaction. Then she let out a dry laugh. What do you think it means? Esteban is your real boyfriend. Not Dominic. He used your amnesia to drop the act and pass you off to someone else. You've been played, Regina. You're nothing but a joke to them. Misty's tone rose, eyes burning. I'm saying this as a friend. You deserve to know the truth.
They're using you.
Regina remained serene. Misty stared at her, frustrated. Wait, are you telling me you knew all this? And you're just okay with it? Her voice cracked. You never lost your memory, did you? Regina casually plucked a grape. So you figured it out. She looked up with a soft smile. But as a friend, maybe you should keep it to yourself, Misty was dumbstruck. You've been faking all this time? And you kept going with Dominic? Regina, this is insane. I'm insane. Regina popped a grape into her mouth. You're the one who tried to be my friend while sneaking behind my back. You wanted Esteban all along. And now that you've got him, you still want to point fingers at me? Misty's voice cracked again. I love him. I truly love Esteban. But you've been pretending this whole time. You slept with Dominic knowing everything. Regina leaned forward, her voice low but sharp. So? Is Dominic treating me badly? Is he worse than the Esteban who humiliated me, lied to me, and gave me away like I was an inconvenience? Misty stumbled back, eyes wide in disbelief. You're not the Regina I thought I knew. Regina tilted her head, amused. No? Who was I before? The naive, grateful little girlfriend who smiled while you wormed your way into Esteban's heart. Misty's face flushed with guilt and rage. I do love him, but you always wore a mask. Regina chuckled softly. And you didn't? Misty clenched her fists. I'm going to tell them. I'll tell Esteban you faked your memory loss. I'll tell Dominic, too. I'll expose you. Regina raised an eyebrow, calm as ever. Are you sure you want to do that? After all, Esteban said this morning he planned to end things with you. He said he still loved me. You heard it too, didn't you? Misty froze. That memory, that truth, Regina could see it flashing behind her eyes. If you tell them, Regina continued gently, I'll cry. I'll say I was heartbroken, that Esteban abandoned me, that I turned to Dominic only after being discarded. They'll pity me, not hate me. Especially Esteban. So tell me, Misty, are you still so sure? Misty took a step back, her lips trembling. You're not who I thought. You're cold. Regina smiled. No, I've just stopped being your doormat. Welcome to the real me. You're not the strong, brave, honest girl everyone thought you were. You never truly loved Esteban. Misty shouted, her voice trembling with fury. Regina smirked. Who said I didn't love him? Her tone was sharp, almost mocking. I loved him with everything I had right up until the moment he handed me off to Dominic like I was some burden. Did I ever cheat on him the way he cheated on me? She tilted her head, her expression almost curious. And you? Can you say you love him sincerely if he had no thing, no name, no money, no privilege? Would you still be here? Misty's face turned from pale to sickly green. You're disgusting. Me? Regina let out a dry laugh. And Esteban? The guy who shoved his girlfriend toward another man so he could sleep with her friend? That's not disgusting. She rolled her eyes. You should be thanking me, Misty. Between Esteban and Dominic, I'll only choose one. And I have no intention of fighting you for the other. She leaned closer. Esteban is already tainted to me. You want him? Take him. Hold on tight with both hands. I won't be in your way. Misty looked at her with a strange mix of disbelief and fear. So what? You don't love either of them? You're just looking for whoever can give you a comfortable life. Regina sighed, growing tired of the conversation. I told you I loved Esteban. And what did I get in return? Lies? Betrayal? As for Dominic, he lied to me too. Why should I give him my whole heart? Her voice softened slightly. But unlike Esteban, Dominic hasn't been completely ruined yet. If he treats me right and gives me what I want, I'll treat him right too. Misty stared, her tone suddenly cold. Are you so sure you can control Dominic? He's the most unpredictable one out of all of them. Regina toyed with a grape. You have your ways.
You mean?
Her eyes flickered. We both know what it's like to grow up with nothing. Whatever you do from here on, that's your choice. Just don't come for me, and I won't come for you. But if you insist on treating me like your enemy, Regina paused, suddenly sensing someone watching them from beyond the vineyard.
She turned.
Only the leaves swayed, but her gut said otherwise. Moments later, Misty and Regina walked out, baskets full of grapes in hand. Dominic came toward them. Without hesitation, he took Regina's basket and placed a gentle arm around her shoulders. You took a while. I was getting worried, he said softly, leading her back toward the guest house. Misty watched the scene unfold, her gaze lingering on Dominic as if she couldn't understand why he treated Regina with such care. Esteban arrived soon after, but instead of rushing to Misty, he just stood there, staring coldly at Dominic with a storm brewing in his eyes. Regina looked back without flinching. Esteban stepped forward. There's a ranch nearby. You said you wanted to ride horses. Want to go later? She turned to Dominic. Did I say that? He smiled. Then let's go. But first, we have to wash the grapes. He led her away, without looking back. Esteban stood frozen, stiff with jealousy. Misty's eyes were knives digging into Regina's back. At the villa, they sat at the table. Regina peeled a grape while Dominic watched her. There was something intense in his gaze, something unfamiliar. She looked up, and he softened again, warm and calm. She smiled and offered him a grape. He took it and, without letting go of her hand, brought her fingers to his mouth and slowly licked the juice from them. Since the night they'd slept together, everything between them had changed. Every glance, every touch held tension, heat, and something unspoken. Later that day, they dressed for the equestrian club. A few rich kids were already riding when they arrived. Esteban and Misty were still at the stables. Misty chatted excitedly about horses, but Esteban seemed distant. Misty, he said suddenly, there's something I need to tell you. She froze, her smile faltering. But just then, she spotted Regina and Dominic walking up and quickly called out, Oh, you're here. Regina. Did you two pick your horses already? Regina asked with a light smile. Dominic was speaking with a staff member, asking for a calm, gentle horse, something suitable for Regina. He helped her onto the horse and stayed close while she rode. Then they heard shouting from the far side of the field. Esteban, watch out. Misty.
Ah.
A horse, somehow unrestrained, came barreling through the grounds, charging straight toward Esteban. Without hesitation, Misty galloped across the field to intercept. She managed to get in the horse's path, but was thrown violently by the impact. She hit the ground hard. Esteban rushed over, lifted her into his arms, and raced to the resort's infirmary. Whispers spread among the club staff. Why'd she do that? Esteban could have dodged it easily. He had the reins.
His seat was steady.
He's a trained rider. Yeah, and she wasn't even sitting properly. She forced the horse sideways and lost balance. The impact was brutal. She was lucky not to get trampled. If they blame the club, it won't be fair. Esteban didn't hear any of it. Misty was taken to a city hospital. The doctor said she'd need a wheelchair for at least a few months. Back at the villa, Regina exhaled slowly. Misty's really willing to hurt herself for what she wants. We'll see if it gets her anywhere. That night, as they lay together, Dominic held her close. If you were ever in danger, I wouldn't want you to save me like that. I just want you to be safe. Regina looked up at him. Why do you sound like you're expecting something bad to happen? Because if it were you in danger, I'd risk everything, he said quietly. She smiled, touching his face. We'll be fine. No danger. Just us. He kissed her fingers and leaned in. Meanwhile, Esteban spent more and more time at the hospital. Misty posted constantly flowers, home-cooked meals, Photos of Esteban caring for her. She looked like the happiest woman alive. Regina didn't mind. She had been doing well, too. She'd said she once loved Esteban. And yes, when he handed her off to Dominic like she meant nothing, it hurt. But now they barely crossed paths. And some things were better left unthought. One morning, her phone lit up with an email. Her latest interior design project had won a national award. It was a design she'd submitted months ago, long before the drama began. She had told Esteban once, half teasing, half hopeful, "If I win that award, come to the ceremony. If I win, I want to share that joy with you first." He replied vaguely, saying he might have a friend's birthday that day but would try. Regina didn't expect him to come. Yet he did. She accepted her award on stage, gave her speech, and then heart-pounding she rushed down the steps. Esteban took a step forward, eyes shining, hopeful. But Regina ran right past him, straight into the arms of the man holding her favorite flowers. Dominic lifted her effortlessly, spun her twice, and kissed her cheek. "Regina is the best," he declared. Esteban stood frozen, fists clenched, bloodshot eyes fixed on them. Later that day, they visited her grandmother's grave. Esteban was already there when they arrived. As Regina approached, he gave her a gentle smile. "I cleaned up around her headstone." "Thank you," she replied politely. "Dominic, you should thank your dear brother properly," she added, almost playfully. "Of course. I'll take him to dinner." "A grand one," Dominic said, setting down the offerings. "Though to be fair, I came yesterday and cleaned already. No need for my dear brother to go through all that trouble." Regina chuckled. Together, she and Dominic offered their respects. She told her grandmother how well Dominic treated her, that she was happy, that she hoped her grandmother could rest in peace, knowing that. Esteban stood nearby, fists clenched again, watching as they prayed side by side. She knew Dominic had warned Esteban against revealing the truth. "You really think she'll forgive you if you tell her now?" he had said. "You cheated. She doesn't remember anything about you. All she feels is distance. If you confess now, she won't come running back. She'll hate you." That fear had kept Esteban silent. But lately, something inside him cracked. Maybe it was seeing Regina every day and being treated like a stranger. Maybe it was jealousy. Either way, he snapped. One evening, he intercepted her outside work. "Regina," he said softly, trying to hold her gaze. "What is it, Esteban?" she asked coolly. "I ended things with Misty." He stepped closer. She stepped back. "So, it was a mistake," he continued, voice urgent. "She kept chasing me. But I realized my mistake. I want to fix it." "You don't owe me an explanation," she said coldly. "At first I wanted to wait until your memory returned, but I can't hold back anymore." "Regina, I'm your—" "Esteban," she interrupted, "please don't start saying pointless things. Isn't Dominic your best friend?" "He stopped being my best friend a long time ago," Esteban growled. "It was him. He took you away from me deliberately." "I don't know what you're talking about." "Please don't make a scene." Just then, Dominic's car pulled up. "Dominic." Regina ran to him. He jumped out, wrapped her in his arms as she nestled into his chest. Dominic glared at Esteban. "Again with this madness?" "Dominic." Esteban stormed forward. "Do you think making scenes like this will get you what you want? The only reason she even tolerates you is because she doesn't know who you really are. But keep pushing, and I'll make sure she avoids you entirely. I won't let you near her again." Dominic's voice dropped to a chilling calm. "This brotherhood, our circlite can all break. And if it does, you'll lose everything. Think very carefully about what you want to do next." Esteban went quiet, shocked by the threat. He understood. If he revealed the truth now, he'd lose Regina forever. He watched helplessly as Dominic led her into the car and drove off. Regina stared at Dominic while he drove. Lately, everything he did aligned perfectly with her unspoken wishes, as if he could read her thoughts.
But how?
She was just a woman with amnesia, wasn't she? Misty messaged her, asking to meet. She said she was done, that once her leg healed, she'd leave the city. That Regina didn't need to worry about her spilling the truth. In other words, a veiled threat. Regina agreed to meet at the lake. Misty sat waiting in her wheelchair by a bench. "Still using the chair?" Regina asked as she approached. You're really leaving? Misty smiled faintly and gestured for her to sit. What's the point in staying?
I didn't win anything. Just pain.
I really loved Esteban. Regina shrugged and sat beside her. I hope you move on. Misty turned to her, eyes softer. I actually admire you. You got both Esteban and Dominic wrapped around your finger. Regina raised a brow. You're not secretly recording this, are you? Misty hesitated, then pulled a recorder from her pocket. You're unbelievable. Regina turned it off and handed it back. Don't flatter yourself. Esteban loves me? Then why did he cheat on me? Dominic? Who knows what he'll become? Her voice was bitter, mocking. Misty frowned. I used to think you saw the world with kindness. Now all I see is someone guarded and defensive. Regina's smile faded. Don't look at me like that. I just learned to love myself first. Is that really so hard to understand? But in the end, you got everything. And I got nothing. Misty's voice cracked, filled with confusion. Why don't you just let it go? Don't obsess over this idea of love. Regina's tone was calm. You hurt Esteban. You could easily cash out and live comfortably. You don't need to keep chasing ghosts. Misty stared. Don't you hate me? I seduced Esteban while pretending to be your friend. Regina turned her head slowly, her voice colder than ever. Why would I hate you? You were never a threat. At first, Misty had only wanted his attention. Then she chased the thrill. Whenever he was frustrated with you, she said, I'd be softer. I told him I didn't expect anything, that I wouldn't tie him down, that happiness was enough. In me, he found a shadow of who you used to be. That's why he treated me well. Regina shook her head. So the man takes advantage, and it's the other woman's fault for seducing him? Does that logic even make sense? She looked Misty dead in the eye. When I realized your friendship wasn't real, I stopped seeing you as a friend. Otherwise, this would have felt like a double betrayal. But since I never saw you that way, and you never really hurt me directly, what you did doesn't matter. Esteban's the one who betrayed me. Misty laughed bitterly. I really do admire you. But I also hate you, Regina. Because you got everything I ever dreamed of. As she said it, her eyes flicked behind Regina, and before she could react, Misty lunged from her wheelchair, a knife glinting in her hand.
Ah!
Regina gasped and stumbled backward. Misty came at her with wild, vicious swings. Are you insane? Is this really worth ruining your life over a man? Regina shouted, raising her arms defensively only to realize the knife had no edge. It was a prop. Regina! Two voices screamed from opposite sides. Dominic and Esteban were running toward her, panic etched on their faces. Dominic grabbed her and pulled her close, shielding her with his body. Esteban kicked Misty down. The blade clattered to the ground. Esteban looked her over quickly, making sure she was unharmed, then turned with rage and raised his foot, ready to stomp Misty. Stop, Esteban! Regina yelled. The knife fight's fake. Esteban froze. Dominic, holding her tightly, examined her carefully. You're okay, he whispered in relief. Misty lay on the ground, laughing breathlessly. After all these years of being your friend, I picked up a few tricks. I'm not crazy enough to risk real jail. What the hell is your problem? Esteban growled. Dominic's expression darkened. Misty looked at both of them through teary, manic eyes and started laughing again. Regina sighed. She already knew what was coming. And to think, Misty said between chuckles, you two powerful, rich men ended up puppets to one woman. She pointed at Regina. Regina never lost her memory. Not for a second. Esteban froze. Misty smirked. You said she loved you so much. That once she remembered, she'd run back to you. But she never forgot. And she still chose Dominic. Her voice dripped with venom. Because she never really loved you. When she found out you betrayed her, she didn't cry. She replaced you just like that. She laughed again. All she wanted was someone who could keep her life easy. She's no different than me. Then she turned to Dominic. And you, how could you fall for your brother's girl? She slept with Esteban for years. You really think she loves you now? Her voice cracked with rage. If you lost everything, you think she'd stay?
Please.
You're both pathetic. Shut up, Dominic roared. Then, more softly, he turned to Regina. Let's go home. She looked up at him calm, strong, composed. His reaction always surprised her. Misty cackled. Come on, Esteban. Ask her. Ask if she really ever forgot anything. Her voice rang like a dare. Esteban trembled, gripped by fear. The truth, finally cracking through. If what Misty said was true, then Regina had never been confused. She had made her choices with full awareness. She had walked away from him. Let's leave, Dominic said again, tightening his hold. But Regina didn't move. She looked at Esteban. I never lost my memory. Esteban's body wavered like a tree about to fall. He turned, wide-eyed, shaking. Dominic merely lowered his gaze, unsurprised. Misty burst into bitter laughter again. Regina stepped forward. That day, if you had waited just one more second, I would have smiled and told you I was kidding. Just a harmless joke. She inhaled slowly. But you didn't wait. You couldn't wait. You denied our relationship on the spot. You pushed Dominic toward me like I was disposable. Esteban took a step back, his face pale, horrified. Regina, even then, I still gave you chances, she continued, voice steady. I hoped you'd realize your mistake. But instead, you let another man become my boyfriend. You let someone else take care of me. You stroked Misty's hair in front of me. You kissed her. You set off fireworks for her, looked at her with those same eyes you used to look at me with. Her eyes narrowed. So, I let you go. Esteban collapsed inward, his body shaking. I'm so sorry, he whispered. He stepped forward, voice cracking. I was wrong. I know that now. I messed up, Regina. But it was just a mistake. Just one mistake. He reached into his coat pocket, trembling. I had these ready, our rings. I was going to propose once you remembered everything. I just wanted to say sorry that day. His voice broke into sobs, eyes glistening with desperation. He held out the small velvet box, shaking with the weight of regret. Esteban held the ring with trembling hands. Regina, I was going to spend the rest of my life making it up to you, giving you everything you wanted. Everything you ever dreamed of, his voice cracked. I love you. Please, please forgive me. I know you loved me. We loved each other so deeply. Regina, just one chance, just one to make things right. Esteban, Dominic's voice cut through the air like steel. He stepped forward and, without hesitation, knocked the ring from Esteban's hand. Don't you get it? The day you betrayed Regina, you lost her forever. His tone was steady, but filled with quiet fury. You're stained. How dare you ask for forgiveness? You're the one who shoved her into my arms. And now she's mine. You'll never have another chance. Regina's eyes flicked toward Dominic, startled. Stained? That word, it rang in her memory, like an echo from the vineyard. A word only she had used. He had heard her that day. Her mind drifted for a moment. Esteban, on his knees, scrambled to pick up the ring. No, this can't be happening. She loved Mesh, really did. His voice trembled with a pain deeper than shame. When I had a fever, she fed me soup and medicine by mouth, holding me like I was everything. When I returned late from a storm out of town, she was asleep on the sofa. She had waited up for me all night. His voice wavered. She thought I'd been in a car crash once. It was just a scratch. But when she saw me, she cried with relief. She threw herself into my arms and didn't let go until dawn. She said she was happy with me, that I made her truly happy. How can that all be gone? He wept, broken, drowning in memories that no longer belonged to him. Misty, still on the ground, watched him. No one could tell if her expression was bitter triumph or quiet grief. Regina looked down at Esteban, her voice soft and final. I did love you, but not anymore. Then she turned, letting Dominic guide her away. Regina. Esteban's cry behind her was raw, desperate sound of a man realizing he had truly lost everything. Back home, Dominic insisted on checking her for injuries. She let him. He embraced her tightly, kissed her gently. I love you, Regina. No matter who you are. I love all of it. I won't ask for your whole heart. If you love me even half as much as you once loved Esteban, that's enough for me. I'll be faithful, clean, and give you everything. He said it quietly, slipping a ring into her hand, his voice trembling, his eyes searching hers for something hope, maybe. She paused, searching his face, her heart tightening. You heard that day in the vineyard, didn't you? He nodded slowly. She smiled. The cicada chases the mantis, and the bird above claims the prize. She loosened her fingers and allowed him, hands still shaking, to slide the ring onto her finger. Then she offered her hand, and he kissed it with reverence. One day, she whispered, will you draw something for me? While I watch. He hesitated, then pulled her into a firm embrace. Yes. From the beginning, since Dominic had brought her to his home, his every gesture had spoken clearly. He didn't look down on her. He wanted her. He cared. But there had always been that shadow, the fact she once belonged to Esteban. And that was why his words had often cut sharp. Still, how much did he really love her? Was he the kind who, once he had what he wanted, would stop treasuring it? She wasn't sure. Not until she stumbled into his studio. Sketches, dozens, maybe hundreds, lined the walls. All of her. Her face in every angle, every smile, every frown. Each line drawn not from memory, but imagination, emotion. Every detail betrayed just how long he had been carrying her in his mind. In that moment she understood. He had loved her in secret. Quietly. Faithfully. From the shadows. And now, finally, he had her. And she was the only woman who had ever been in his life. That truth moved her. It felt pure.
Rare.
Precious. She would learn to love him back. He held her close that night, whispering everything he had buried inside for years. I love you, Regina. I have for so long, since that morning at Esteban's house when you mistook me for him. You got up from the couch, hugged me from behind, and whispered, "Good morning," in my ear. His voice was hoarse, full of feeling. I knew it wasn't meant for me, but it felt like it was. And I've never forgotten it. If you love emotional and surprising stories, don't forget to like the video to support the channel and help us spread more heart-touching stories.